The Galactic Accord broadcast the announcement on every frequency, in every language, across every inhabited star system simultaneously. It was, by all accounts, the most civilized moment in the galaxy's recorded history. 63 spacefaring species paused their wars, their treaties, their millennia-old grudges, and simply listened. Humanity was extinct. The last verified human signal had gone dark 11 months ago. Earth was silent. The great irritants of the cosmos, the ones who refused to follow protocol, who bargained when they should have surrendered, who laughed in the faces of gods and called it diplomacy, were finally gone. Galactic Accord broadcast / cycle 7.441.009. Confirmed, SOL3 biosignature, null. Confirmed, human fleet, dispersed/destroyed. Confirmed, species status, extinct. The Accord formally closes the human question. Rejoice. The anomaly has ended. And they did rejoice. The Vreth sang their deep ocean harmonics for 40 hours straight. The Siraki Dominion held a procession of 10,000 warships in ceremonial silence. The Alorian Collective, who had lost entire colony fleets to human stubbornness, sent congratulatory pulses to every ambassador in the quadrant. Even the relatively neutral Kethmora, who prided themselves on emotional restraint, allowed their communication arrays to broadcast a single word across open channels. Finally. Nobody mourned. Why would they? Humans had been the galaxy's most maddening species for 3 centuries. They didn't conquer so much as persist, refusing to die when logic demanded it, building outposts in systems that had no business supporting life, negotiating from positions of total defeat as though they hadn't received the memo. Every species had a story. Every species had scars. The galaxy exhaled. The anomaly was over. Selene was the one who noticed it first. She was an intelligence officer for the Accord's Deep Monitoring Division, one of perhaps 40 beings in the galaxy whose entire function was to listen. Not for threats. Not for diplomacy. Simply to listen to the silence between stars and ensure that silence stayed silent. After humanity's extinction, her role had become almost ceremonial. Still, she sat at her post on monitoring station Oris 7, surrounded by 300 years of acoustic data, and she listened. On the 43rd day after the official declaration, her instruments registered an anomaly. Not from Earth. Earth was quiet, as agreed, as expected, as celebrated. The signal came from Kepler 442b, a world that had been dead for over 800 years. A planet that had hosted a silicon-based civilization before a runaway stellar event reduced it to a scorched, airless rock orbiting a dimming star. Its civilization had left ruins. Nothing more. Selene stared at her readout for a long time before she called it in. Signal origin / Kepler 442b, status, dead world. Source, unknown. Encoding, partial, human adjacent. Content. We hear you. Signal received. Hold position. Do not broadcast again. That's impossible, said Commander Vrethowlin of the Accord's Security Wing, when Selene showed him the data. That world has been dead for 8 centuries. Yes, Selene said. And yet it's replying to something. Something that transmitted before humanity went silent. They traced the original signal. It had been sent 11 months ago, in the final days before Earth's signature went dark. Compressed, encoded, bounced off 17 relay points across the outer spiral arm. Whoever sent it had been careful. Whoever sent it had known they were being watched. It was addressed to dead worlds. Nathan had a rule: never transmit from the same location twice. It was one of 47 rules he had developed over the past 3 years, in the cramped operations bay of what had once been a civilian deep survey vessel, now stripped of everything non-essential and packed with signal equipment that technically didn't exist on any Accord registry. He was, by any official measure, dead. Every human was officially dead. That was rather the point. He was the signal commander of Operation Lazarus, humanity's last, quietest gambit. While the Accord's attention had been fixed on humanity's military fleets, on the colonial stations, on the diplomatic channels, a small and exceptionally unremarkable group of signal engineers had done something the galaxy had not thought to prevent. They had listened to dead worlds for 30 years, catalogued their ruins, and learned that some ruins had very deep basements. Infrastructure built to last. Power sources that ran on stellar radiation and asked nothing of their builders. Relay networks laid down by civilizations that had not survived to use them. Humanity, facing extinction and knowing it, had made a choice. Not to fight. Not this time. To hide, and to leave the lights on somewhere else. The signal he had sent 11 months ago was simple. A greeting. A handshake. Encoded in mathematics so fundamental that any sufficiently advanced ruins would have automated systems capable of reading it. He had sent it to 43 dead worlds and told himself that even a 10% response rate would be extraordinary. He was now staring at 31 replies. / Operation Lazarus, response log / Kepler 442b. Online. Gliese 667cc. Online. HD 40307G. Online. Trappist 1D. Online. Wolf 1061C. Online. Total active, 31/43 status, network forming. 31, said his co-engineer, barely above a whisper. Nathan. 31 of them still have power. 31 dead civilizations, Nathan said slowly, built their communications infrastructure to last forever. And nobody thought to ask why. He leaned back in his chair and looked at the star map blooming across the display. 31 points of light scattered across the galaxy, each one the tomb of a species that had come before. Each one now, quietly, listening. Start routing. Standard encryption. We don't need to broadcast loudly. We just need to whisper to the right places. The Accord's security wing escalated to high alert on day 47, when the count reached 31 and kept climbing. By day 60, it was 41 responses. By day 90, all 43 dead worlds had replied, and 3 of them had begun transmitting data that no living species had decoded in centuries. Ancient star maps. Resource caches. Technological schematics from civilizations that had solved problems humanity hadn't yet thought to ask. Celine sat in the security chamber and listened to the Accord argue about what it meant. The Vreth insisted it was a human trick, a ghost in the machine, a final act of spite from a dead species. The Siraki Dominion demanded immediate bombardment of every responding world, dead or not. The Alorian Collective, more practically, noted that destroying 43 planets would take resources they did not currently have and time they might not be given. We declared them extinct, said the Siraki High Commander. We celebrated. Yes, said Celine, very quietly. We did. She pulled up the signal logs, the ones she had been quietly compiling for 90 days. The picture they painted was not of a species dying. It was of a species moving. Distributing itself across ghost infrastructure that had been invisible precisely because no living species had thought the dead worth watching. Humans had not been conquered. They had not been eliminated. They had looked at a galaxy that wanted them gone, calculated the odds, and decided that official death was a reasonable cover story. They were, Celine thought with something between fury and profound reluctant respect, absolutely insufferable. On the 91st day, Nathan's signal array lit up with an Accord priority frequency, a channel reserved for communications between species-level governments. For a moment, he thought they had been found. He sat very still, and then he pressed receive. The voice on the other end was calm, precise, and distinctly not hostile. It identified itself as Intelligence Officer Celine of the Accord Deep Monitoring Division. Accord Deep Monitor, a Celine, open channel. Human Signal Commander. I know you can hear me. I am not reporting this conversation. The Accord believes you are dead. I believe you intend to stay that way, officially. I have one question only. Are you actually extinct? Nathan looked at his co-engineer. His co-engineer looked at him. After a long moment, he keyed his transmitter. Define extinct, he said. The pause on the other end was brief. When Celine responded, there was something in her voice that Nathan, despite everything, recognized as the galactic equivalent of a very tired laugh. As I suspected, she said. You are going to be a problem for a very long time. Officer Celine, Nathan said, and he was smiling now, in the dark of a dead civilization's borrowed light, surrounded by the voices of 43 extinct species who had somehow left the door open. With respect, we're just getting started. The galaxy had cheered humanity's extinction. It had broadcast its relief on every frequency. It had held ceremonies and sent congratulations and finally exhaled. And in the quiet that followed, in the space between dead stars and sleeping ruins, in the patient infrastructure of civilizations that had not survived but had somehow, inexplicably, built for those who might, humanity whispered back.